Well, hey JHM, my name is Blarg, also known as Brandon, and one thing that you ought to know about me is that I love superheroes. You know, superhero movies and TV shows are some of the most popular forms of media in the entire world. These movies make billions of dollars every single year. There are dozens of movies and TV shows all dedicated to superheroes that come out every single year, and superheroes are massively agreed to be great. We think that superheroes are so great. They're so fantastic. But the question comes to my mind is, what is it that makes superheroes great? What makes a superhero or a person considered to be great? Is it the powers that they have? Well, the powers could be, that could definitely be part of the greatness, but then I think about characters like Batman or Black Widow or Hawkeye, who have zero superpowers. They're very skilled, but they don't have powers. So it can't be the powers that makes a superhero great. But then I go, well, what about the costumes? You know, the cool outfit, the uniform. You know, like those outfits are so incredibly iconic. Is that the thing that makes a superhero great? Well, that can't be the truth either, because almost every single superhero movie we see has a scene where the hero is fighting in their street clothes, just dressed like you and I would dress on a regular day. So it's not the powers that makes a hero great. It's not the costume that makes a hero great. There's got to be something else. What makes a person great? One show asked that same question: what makes a hero great? If you've seen The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you got introduced to a character named John Walker. John Walker, the new Captain America. And John is a character that he popped up on screen, and we see him in action. We see him having the shield. He has the costume. He can fight really, really well. And we're like, oh man, he looks the part of a great superhero. But in fact, if you really look at the character, you recognize there's something about him that keeps him from truly being great. He might look the part, he might fight the part, but there's something that keeps him from being considered a great hero. So my question continues: what makes a person great? We're in the middle of the series called Boot Camp, where we're talking about the spiritual disciplines. Spiritual disciplines are habits that grow our relationship with Jesus. If you practice these disciplines, you will have a stronger relationship with Jesus. And today's habit that we're talking about is all about that idea of greatness. If you practice this habit, then you too, according to Jesus, will be considered great. So we're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 20 today. Matthew chapter 20 shows us this story where Jesus is talking to his disciples, and his 12 disciples, his 12 followers, his best friends, are arguing with each other over which of them is the greatest, which of them deserves the title of being Jesus's right and left-hand men. Like, who is the best among them? And as they're arguing and they're fighting, Jesus has this to say about what makes a person great. He says this, he says, Jesus called them over and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those in high positions act as tyrants over them." In other words, people who have power, they use their power to step on other people, to make themselves more powerful. It must not be like that among you. On the contrary, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. That brings us to our very first point today, which is if we want to become great, we first need to serve. Servanthood is the key to greatness. You know, our culture tells us one very specific definition of greatness. It says, hey, if you want to be great, you need to become rich and famous and successful. You need to become TikTok famous or be a successful YouTuber. You need to have millions of followers on Instagram. You need to have people constantly saying, that person is the best. They're the greatest person on the planet. We love them. You need to receive awards and prizes and become very, very rich. This is our world's definition of success. And Jesus looks at that and goes, actually, if you want to be considered great, then you need to make yourself the lowest. You need to make yourself into the lowest position on the totem pole, being a servant. A servant is somebody who looks at other people and says, I'm going to put your needs before my own. I'm going to put your needs first. And so we're going to get really, really practical as to what that looks like. And our next point is this: following Jesus requires action. Following Jesus requires action. It requires us to do something. Philippians 2 says it like this. It says, do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility consider others as more important than yourselves. Everyone should look not to his own interests, but rather to the interests of others. See, there's a lot of needs that exist in our world, and you are uniquely qualified to fill a lot of those needs. You can fill the needs that you see around you. Within your congregation, there are many opportunities for you to get plugged in and serve. You can start getting involved in tech, serving that way, using technology to bless the people around you. If you're a musician, you can be part of a worship team, singing praises to God and leading other people in worshiping Him. Because I know that when I am being led in worship, then there is whatever burdens I am carrying in the day get lifted off of me, and I find peace. If people like you are not in there serving and being a part of that, then I don't get that opportunity for peace, for release. You can be a part of making that actual spiritual impact on other people. Another way that you can serve is quite simple. You can just look around your space and go, hey, like, what needs to be done? I have one leader named Michaela, who's a high school student who just loves volunteering. She loves serving. She does tech for us all the time. And she will regularly go after we're done with our program, we'll look around the youth space and go, what trash is there that I can clean up? How can I clean up trash for you? How can I straighten up chairs? How can I just do little things to show other people that they matter? That's something that you can do. There's also a million opportunities for you to serve within your schools. You see, your teachers are always willing and looking for help. They're always looking for people who step in and say, hey, I want to help you. I want to serve you. Help me clean up after the class that you just had. Help me set up for the next class that you have. You can be an amazing blessing to your teachers by serving them that way. You can also find people who are struggling at subjects in school that you're really good at, and you can say, hey, I want to serve you by helping you along in math, helping you with your English, helping you with your science, so that you're able to succeed. That's just looking at other people saying, hey, I see you have a need. I want to help fill that need because I care, because God loves me, and I want to show that example to you as well. You can also look and just see physical needs that are happening in our community at large. People are in need of food, they're in need of clothing, they're in need of resources, and you can be a part, big or small, in helping meet those needs around you. You can serve in a food pantry, you can serve in a soup kitchen, you can serve in a clothes closet, you can serve at something like a Christian thrift store. Like, whatever ways that you are able to serve to reach the needs of other people, you have that power to make an amazing difference. If we truly belong to Jesus, then we are called to act in order to reach the needs of other people. Now, here's the important thing for us to recognize about serving, is that serving requires sacrifice. If we look back to John Walker here, and what is the things that kept him from being great, is that ultimately for John, being a hero was all about himself. It was all about making himself feel important. It was all about making himself feel special. He did good things, he acted well, but he was looking out for number one. And if you were to compare John with, say, another superhero, another Captain America like Steve Rogers, we see pretty early on in Steve's career that he didn't look at being heroic as being about boosting his own ego or making himself feel better in life. He looked at serving as saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes for the sake of people around me. And I don't think that there's a better scene than this scene in the first Captain America movie that shows just how sacrificial Cap is and how sacrificial we are meant to be living our lives. Check it out.
Look at that. He's making me cry.
I am looking for qualities beyond the physical.
Do you know how long it took to set up this project? All the groveling I had to do in front of Senator What's-His-Name's committees?
Yes, I know. I am well aware of your efforts.
Then throw me a bone. Hodge passed every test we gave him. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders, he's a soldier.
He's a bully.
You don't win wars with niceness, Doctor. You win wars with guts. Grenade! Move, move, move! Get away! Get back!
Dummy grenade. All clear. Back in formation.
Is this a test?
You know, with Steve Rogers, it wasn't the superpowers that made him a hero. It wasn't the muscles, it wasn't the great hair, it wasn't the cool costume, it wasn't the vibranium shield. Steve was a hero long before he ever put on that shield, long before he ever had the powers. He was a hero because he looked at other people and said, I'm going to sacrifice everything in order to try to save you. I'm willing to jump on a grenade for the sake of the people around me, people who don't even like me. That's the kind of heart that Jesus is calling us to have. If you are serving other people, but it doesn't cost you anything, you're not really serving. Serving other people always costs us something. It costs us our time, it costs us our resources, our money, it costs us our energy. Sometimes it costs us everything. But when we give, when we serve with a sacrificial heart, what we gain in return is far better than what it is that we are giving. Because when we serve, when we sacrifice, we wind up having a deeper, stronger relationship with God. We find a life that is not shallow, a life that is not hollow, but we find a life that is full, where we are able to truly taste and see that the Lord is good, because God wants us to live that life. He doesn't want us to just sit on the sidelines. He wants us to be all in on the game. He wants us to be serving with everything we have. Brings us to our final thought for the day. If you want a deeper relationship with God, serve. If you want to grow closer to Jesus, then you need to serve. I want to challenge you. Don't let the day end without you deciding where it is that God is calling you to be a servant. God bless you guys.